Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Okay. Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I am so excited today. I have one of my longtime lax homies of I don't even know, 15, 20 years in the house. And the best part is we're not even really, we're going to talk a little bit about lacrosse, but we're actually grown ass adults doing grown up things now. And we're going to be talking about professional situations, which 15, 20 years ago, I don't know that our young selves would have even predicted this. But I'm going to welcome Cora Sexton Wheeler to the TNT mic. Welcome, Cora.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, KO. I'm excited.
Yes. So on Turmeric and Tequila, we obviously are here for graceful disruption and all things diversity and inclusion and equality. And I started this series of TNT creatives, really highlighting our creative individuals, because in my own personal journey, I've really figured out how important that creative outlet is for me. But it's hard to do. And it's not something that we're, I think, super culturally aware. So I really wanted to bring out individuals that took that leap, leaning into their creative side, because number one, I really do think it builds that common denominator with humanity of regardless where you came from or how you look or whatever, we can all kind of relate to art, dance, music. But doing that and leaning into it in life is hard. So I want to highlight these varsity humans doing their thing, sharing their journey. Cora is, again, we've been friends forever. I didn't even know this art angle was a piece of her world. So Cora, why don't we jump in and give us a little bit about young Cora? Maybe not all the details, just because I know you won't tell mine.
I know, right? Got to keep those in the vault.
Yes.
I feel like young Cora was a hot mess and older Cora is still a hot mess. So just trying to pretend not to be, but it's still there.
That's why we're friends, by the way.
I know, right? I can just be honest about it.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. So, I always played lacrosse. Lacrosse is a huge love of my life. That's where we met. Played through high school, played at DU after, and then played the Vail shootout with you. And that was awesome. And now I have kids, and one of my sons, I have one son, he plays lacrosse and I coach with him, and he does the Vail shootout now. So it's come full circle. And so lacrosse is still a huge part I'm thankful for. But then other than that, I grew up in Denver and never left. Went to college here too. And I studied pre-med and then went to dental hygiene school and was on track to go to dental school. And so my whole life was biology, chemistry, patient care, that kind of thing. And art was always an undertone of it. And I think as I became a mom, I now have 3 kids. And as I started to move forward in life, things continued to change. And I slowly, after maybe 7 to 10 years, let go of the dental side and continue to grow my art side, which is now what I'm doing full time. So I don't know, it's been a long journey, which is crazy looking back, but
yeah,
definitely trying to evolve.
I think what's so cool is we graduate high school, you graduate college, you kind of think your path. In retrospect, I look back at my 18-year-old self when I graduated high school and then my 22, 23-year-old self when I graduated college. Oh my God, girl, bye. There was no way of knowing. Even if we studied what we were going to be doing now, I don't think we really would have got the joke. And the best thing I loved about so we both played D1 lacrosse. And the best thing I loved that we had this opportunity to play after college, we made some incredible friends. And through lacrosse, it built out this community of really like-minded individuals. And just like art and music, I think that's what, your art can do and bring communities together. But we were such a unique group of humans where we'd show up to Vail and go hard after hours, drink and party and whatever, but then show up and compete. And we won a year and we were always, I think, top 3. Shout out crslacrosse.com. But it was just kind of this crazy, super intense human off the field, super intense human on the field. We handled business. So now when I circle back and I see these humans doing really incredible things like accountants and CEOs and VPs, I'm like, insane. Holy shit. I know how hard
I know the other side of you.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense because if you could do that on the field, it doesn't surprise me that you go hard in the paint off the field. No pun intended here. But totally. Did you do art and stuff in middle school and elementary school? With the love and the passion was always there?
Yeah, it was always there. Always a class I excelled in, enjoyed, used my creativity through life. especially I did a lot of work with florals too, and that's work with colors, a lot with my hands. And even the dental world, like you're using your tactile sensitivity in small instruments where you're carving teeth. And I was pediatric, so even smaller with children. But the art just in creating was always there. I just never thought of that as my career, just because my dad was a pediatric dentist and I grew up in that whole world. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And I love that whole side, and I was passionate about it, but not as passionate as I am with the art side of everything. And I think it's hard because we grow up thinking we're going to have this career path and we have to do it for the rest of our lives. Kind of like our parents. I know my dad was a dentist forever. My mom was a flight attendant forever. And so I feel like we have to stay with something, even though we might not be happy in it. So I really had to take a big push to like shut that door and open this new one, to know like it's okay to change paths. And it's been such a great journey. And it makes me more thankful to be where I am now, because I went through a lot to get here, and I appreciate being able to express myself and just be my own boss even. And I don't know, I'm happy every day to like get to work on my pieces of art. So.
Well, I think gratitude's everything. And I think that even that lesson takes a little while for you to like grow up and mature and really get the joke. And I think there's a really amazing lesson that you just displayed where it really does take time. Like we can be intentional about getting the degree and doing everything we thought we were supposed to do. And because we did those things, the outcome will be, I'm a dentist, I'm successful, I'm this, but really even that path was making you prepared for something completely different. So you had to continue to show up, but really you have to kind of surrender, let go, and just go with what changes.
Yeah. And I think you just have to be confident with it. I think, mine wasn't a one day I went from here to here. Like it was a gradual process, like we just said. And I started painting on the side, and it was like a hobby, but something I wanted to do for myself. And I created pieces for our home. And then friends and family were like, oh, I like one of those. And I'm like, okay. So it just kind of grew. And then finally I was kind of like, I think I can stop doing dental and I can do this full time and still raise my 3 kids and try to make it in other areas of life too, but actually be happy. And I think that's where we all need to individually figure out, like, what can we do to make our personal selves happy and not just live for everybody else. And I feel like that's something I've really tried to work on, because I'm such a people pleaser in a lot of ways. So I think it's just so important as we get older, realize like what's important to you. What do you want to spend your time with? Like it's so fast and short as we get older.
Yeah. Well, I think there's life reminders. And I also think it's generational. Like you saw our parents, mine worked, really hard. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but before kids, I would have chose the career.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was, you have 3, so you're close, but 4 it's the most. And I was the oldest of 4 and 3 brothers. So 3 dudes is a lot.
Kale.
It's
I didn't realize.
Oh yeah. It's I have dogs for a reason now. We're open to the future again. We don't know what's coming, but like for right now, we're good out here with animals, literal ones. But you I think that generation was so like, you do that, you work and it doesn't matter. Happiness really isn't a question. And then our generation kind of comes in and we're like, but we've tried all this and this isn't really making me happy. And I think the next generation is like, F it, I don't want money. I just want to chill, whatever. Like, I'm curious to see like how your kiddos maybe in like 5 or 6 years are like, do I want to go to college because of, school debt, or maybe I want to be in trades, or maybe I want to do art. Like the societies open up those doors. So I think priorities, even as a young person, that conversation starts to happen earlier.
It is it's cool. I think it's exciting. I do feel like there's a lot of important roots that we grew up with to create that hard worker, and to know like the tenacity and to stay with it, and that it might not pay off now, but it will in the long run. So I think our parents definitely taught us that, which I think is huge. And that journey, I keep saying journey, but so I think, but I do look forward to the future and like the more opportunities that are created for our kids. Like my son Ryder, he's 10 and in 5th grade now. He is obsessed with hockey and lacrosse, but his big thing is like, oh mommy, I'm going to play for the Avs. Like I'm going to go to college, play for the Avs. And then lately he's like, I don't know, lacrosse might be my second sport or maybe my first, but hockey. And so he's really into that, but he loves to do art too. And it's such a soft side too. And it's just cool to see how they develop and trying to show them all the, like you're saying, with all the possibilities and the new things that are changing.
Yeah. Our society is just so much more, I think, open-minded, accepting, well, some of it. And
Yeah.
it's, it's evolving, and like really unique opportunities are happening that didn't exist. Like even my job didn't exist when we were in high school or in college. Like even if you would have
So
told my
true.
high school self, like, you're going to do some podcasting, I'd be like, what the F is that? And now let's spin again.
Totally. Like,
Let's
what?
do like, wait, I'm not doing backup dancing for Madonna. Like respin the wheel.
That's on
Tell
the
me.
side.
Yeah, that's on the side.
Yeah.
I mean, and every Saturday with some tequila, it's happening in my mind and in my living room. But other than that, yeah, you kind of just don't know how the world's going to unfold. So I think it's cool
Mm-mm.
when you're a parent like yourself and you've kind of had this, unique journey, then you can foster those opportunities for your kiddos.
Yeah. It's
Do you,
been, yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, do you think that, are you more conscious now? Like your journey has really impacted you in a certain way to make you a more open-minded parent?
I think so in some ways. I love education, and I grew up going through, college for 4 years, dental hygiene for 2, dental was going to be another 4. So I love learning. Um, and I find value in that too. And I think sometimes I struggle with not having a whole art background. And I've been doing art on my own for about 10 years now. So it's more of a self-taught, but I'm still learning every day. Each piece I get to do, I learn more. But I do, going back to my kids, I find value in them going to school and I think school does a good job of helping them find different areas and experience new things. But I think sometimes we're a little narrow-minded there. Like I wish I would have taken art classes and not just biology and chemistry, So I think I'll try to help motivate them to do that as well. Just to try different areas. Like I could have used some business classes. I mean, I'm horrible at business stuff and
Yeah. Well, and being
marketing
entrepreneur, you kind of have to wear all the hats and you learn on that as you go. I'm really actually thankful I started some of that early because I was just kicked into the dirt and figured it out. But our school curriculums, I think you bring up an excellent point. We don't have a lot of like life skills, relationships, financial planning. I just had Ryan Harris from the Broncos to talk
I listened
about.
to it. This morning.
Economic
That was
literacy. Thank you.
Like it was taking notes. I'm like, thank you.
I know. He's like, here's what we do for the kids. I was like, well, can I come to class? Like I'm 40. Is that cool? But it's just like shit we didn't learn. So I'm like, where is our curriculum? Like we need to update. So I think when you have parents like yourself that can kind of broaden the spectrum, or even seeing kids specialize in sports so early, I'm like, dude, you're going to spend $100K in lacrosse by the time you're in 8th grade and then hate it and not even want a scholarship in it when you can get it.
It's insane. I mean, I'm seeing it with Ryder. He does competitive hockey and lacrosse. And so he does like the rec teams, but he's also on travel teams with both. And I'm thankful he can do both, but he's missing practices with some and the other. And then Maxine is in competitive soccer, but that is like her life. And she's only in 3rd grade. And so they're like, we're seeing people get burnt out at like 5th and 6th grade and needing to try a new sport. So I'm trying to encourage them to be multi-sport athletes too, just to try different things. And you're right, it is a lot like career paths too, like, but there's just not enough time. I feel like that's the hardest thing.
I know. Well, before we jumped on the mic, we talked a little bit about the pandemic, and obviously it was deeply destructive and some really massive challenges and a major shift in our universe and daily overall. And there was some upsides as far as slowing down and like some deep disruption in like our everyday realities, and some real gold came out of that as far as slowing down, reprioritizing, having more family time or self time or whatever. And I think reevaluating really what's important and shifting that. And I think it takes some of those really big breakthroughs and those life shifts. And some of them can be devastating, but it provides some clarity. I know you had talked about different influences in your life as far as being a native to Colorado, some of your Native American roots, but really your family. And I think the influence from your father. Do you want to share a little bit of information around that?
Yeah, sure. Might choke me up a little bit, but so growing up, my dad I kind of grew up in the city, but then also on a ranch in Durango. My dad and my mom always wanted to have some land. And so maybe when I was in junior high, they started looking for some property and finally hit Durango, and they found some ranch land. So every weekend we would drive down to Durango, and we had Black Angus cattle. So we'd move the cattle, hay the fields, like do all of that on the weekends, and then back in the city playing sports during the week. So I got a little bit of both worlds, which I think helped create that grit too, and that hard work ethic of like staying out in the fields till 8 at night until the sun goes down, and like watering. And and just the appreciation of what it takes to create something and build something, and just being in nature too. A lot of my pieces are inspired by the mountains or Native American culture, Western, and just a lot of Colorado feels and vibes go into it. It definitely was encouraged by both my parents to really appreciate nature and everything around us too, and how we could incorporate that into our lives as well, and just like a respect and an appreciation for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love when artists, whether you're a DJ or a literal or a painter or something like that, you can see how their heart space is connected to their art and it literally comes through them. And that's what I love about it, because it's not like something like a robot where you know how to put it together and it, there's a beginning, end, like accounting or math, which I'm sort of here for those things. Not really, I'd outsource that, but there's no roadmap. But you see all your pieces of your life really kind of display and come to fruition, like just through you. Like you can't even really visualize what it is. It just is there. And like, that's why I love art. It's so powerful. And you see somebody's kind of like life journey go through onto the print or the canvas.
It's so true. I feel like you can learn the artist's voice. And I think art's so subjective, and everybody I think we're all trying to say something and want to feel important and a part of society. And I think with art, you can make that whatever you want. There's so many with like political views and all of that. And which I appreciate and respect. That my art is more on like tactile sensitivity, like you can touch and feel it. And I just want to make you feel happy. Like mine is not, there's nothing political about it. It's more just to appreciate everything around us and try to bring some of the outdoors in or the culture in, but still just, I want you to look at it and just be like, oh, I'm glad I got that piece. Or a lot of times, most of my work I create with clients or with collectors. So we find a space in their home and we talk about color palette and what they want the subject matter to be. And as long as it kind of goes along with what I create, then we create it together for their space, which I really enjoy, because then I connect with people on a different level. They're involved in that piece of art and then they like it even more, because I mean, art's expensive, and I would hate for someone to look at it and be like, God, why did we buy that? I want them to be like, oh, we were part of that. And there's a lot of symbols in my pieces too. Just throughout, like whether it's the number of buffalo represents the amount of kids in their family, or different symbols on headdresses mean different things. And I just try to incorporate it and make it each piece unique to each person or family that it's created with. So I think connecting is so fun.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And you can make it so personal and so dialed in. But that's super vulnerable, because again, if you're asking me to teach your kid lacrosse or put together a mechanical car or something, but when you're like taking someone's interpretation, I mean, even when I go to the hairdresser, I'm like, here's what I'm thinking. I walk out, I'm like, that's so not hard. It, dude. That's not it. I didn't communicate clearly. So art, I can't even imagine where I'm like, okay, I'm taking your vision in my creative brain. Like, this is my version of art. Like, I don't know how you, I mean, I really applaud your ability to be vulnerable in that and have enough confidence to like take their vision and make it come to fruition and be like secure in what you're going to produce.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind. I appreciate that. Yeah. I think it is a process. And, with going through working with patients and like in the dental field and stuff, and you're listening to what's hurting them or what's going on in their mouth. So I feel like my whole life I've tried to listen and create and like help people. But now I've actually found how I want to help people, and that's with creating art with them. And I listen to them, and there's definitely hiccups, and each piece takes maybe about a month to 2 months. And I check in with the collector and send them photos, and we talk through it. And we do a sketch at the beginning and a mock-up, just to make sure the color palette is what we both are envisioning, because navy blue could be so different to me than it is to you. But yeah, I think a lot of times too, it takes me to a whole new level though. Like something I creatively, maybe color palette wise, would not normally gravitate towards and wouldn't paint. They're like, oh, let's do these colors. And I'm like, okay, let's try it. And then it turns out I'm like, this is great. Like good call. Like, thanks for doing this, so it's kind of collaborative. I don't know. It's a different approach, but I want people to be involved with it and feel good about it.
Yeah. So. Well, I think that sense of community is just like lacrosse, where it's like you come equipped, you're great at offense, I'm great at defense or whatever. And then you collectively work together. It's like, oh, I didn't think of
so true
playing this way or sliding then, or it's just that like collective good to kind of head towards a goal and working with people. We've been doing that our whole lives. It just shows up in different fashion.
Oh, I love hearing lacrosse talk. I'm like, yes, slide on D. And then what?
I know. I've
And then you
considered, I'm
check
like,
her.
should I go back and play just for like a season? I'm like, no, like, I don't
I
even know where
want
my
to
stick
so
is.
bad.
Yeah.
I'm too slow, I feel like. Or I'd get so angry and I'd like check her too hard because I couldn't physically get there, you know?
Right. But I'll sit by the end of my like car and drink a beer and a sweaty lacrosse penny and just like go on a jog with my stick.
Perfect. It looks cool.
Yeah.
But with that too, like with the coaching side of it, and with collectively being a team, like you're referencing, I think also, you know, how many times were you, maybe there's a certain coach that you always gravitated towards. I always liked Kinsley, and she was our defensive coach and assistant coach. And I'd be always, oh, you know, Kinsley.
I forget that we even have that connect. The world is so small. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'd always be like, okay, Kinsley, like, what am I doing wrong? Help me with this, you know, and that there was positive feedback, but then also, you know, there was criticism, but it was creative criticism, or what's the term for it? Where, you know, she would tell you what you're doing wrong, but then help you do it right.
Constructive criticism.
Thank you. I'm like, why aren't these words coming?
Team, it takes a village. See,
I know it totally does. I'm like, thanks, COVID. My brain not having it, but not being with other adults that much. How do I talk to an adult? And not to my children. But that constructive criticism, you know, like I feel like you have to have a tougher skin being a D1 athlete. I mean, heck, how many times are they like, you're not going to start today because you sucked yesterday, and you're like, oh God, you know,
cool.
like, so it's like, thanks. I thought I played well, but you know, so just like rolling with it and adapting. I feel like a lot of like sports help you learn to be in a team and take positives and negatives and keep moving forward. And the confidence, I think just the confidence is the biggest thing that we're all trying to work on. Like I'm working on it with my kids every day. I'm working on it myself every day, just putting myself out there. So I think the sports really help with that. As long as you get some good experiences, like I've heard of bad experiences that a lot of people have, but I feel like if you can get the good ones in there too, it's just so beneficial.
Agree. When I think even those bad ones, I mean, I've had some where it's like really ripped me to the ground, especially, you know, in CrossFit and some of the other things. You get older, and Kinsley actually does CrossFit too. And she knows Dear White Women, some other went to high school with one of my other guys. So she's circulating in the orbit here. So shout out to Kinsley.
Hey girl.
But it's such a small world. But it is crazy how you look back and you look at some of these real breakthroughs and you're like, I probably needed that, even if it was bad. But the way you can foster some of those life skills through sports early on, I think it's instrumental, because life really doesn't get any easier. In fact, I think it gets harder and better, but you have to be able to pack a helmet and be able to stand through some things.
Yeah. You got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was talking to another girlfriend, Lauren Cannon.
Oh yeah, I know her. Yes,
Lassers. Yes, she's one of my besties. Talk to her every day.
Yay.
And she, you know, we were talking about like our kids and building the life tools on how to work through. You know, I've got 3 kids, 2 of them being girls. You know, and I'm talking with one of them about how to navigate the girl gang. You know, and like how to be nice and kind, and don't be this way, and you know, or like. And just helping her build those tools. And there's so many times where I'm like, I want to step in, and Lauren will be like, you know, Cora, you need to let her learn that lesson on her own through like behind the coaches or all this other stuff. I can't be that helicopter parent, you know, and it's just those tools that we learned on our own. Like my parents were never there when I got like mean girled and stuff like that. So it's just like working through life. You gotta experience it.
Yeah, I agree. But also call the Lax crew and we'll come show up like 50 crazy ants and break some bitches down. Just kidding. Lead with kindness. But no, there is. You got to kind of go through. I'm hoping our young females are evolving, so we're getting out of that mean girl mentality. But I just think that might be a slow progression.
But I feel like I've been on all sides of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've been the mean girl. I've had someone be a mean girl to me, like, and it still happens, you know? So I think just trying to teach my kids to be kind and, you know, treat people like how you want to be treated. And just being conscious of how someone else might feel with what they're going through or what you're doing. I don't know. It's hard. Adulting is so hard.
Dude, I know. I literally, I think I'm kind of, even now it's hard for me to believe that we're having this conversation. I
know.
And like, we're, you know, in the tap room, you know, 42 natty lights deep, and it's still in our lacrosse kilt with like mud on our face. And
and it's, I don't know. It's this on the back. Yeah. That was great.
It's all perfect. So kids, if you're out there wondering and scrambling, there's hope. We're pulling our shit together. Stay strong.
Trying. faking it until you make it.
Yeah, I think it's really true. You got to have like, I think some kids do need some like hypothetical ass whips and like some really critical feedback. But on the flip side, as I've gotten older and I've gotten to learn maybe some of the humans I didn't get along with, I was like, oh, they were going through this really tough time at that point.
So true.
And you
so
just
true.
You don't know when to be empathetic.
You never know what someone is going through.
Yeah. And nowadays I really have a lot of space for our young humans, because I think a lot is thrown at them so young, and it's really hard.
Social media.
I can't imagine. I see
people having a party that I wasn't invited to, and I'm like, oh, that kind of hurt my feelings. But I can't imagine being a teenager seeing that, and like, that's so much more devastating. I feel like it's harder to get over things because you haven't learned how to yet.
Yeah.
Or that it's not a big deal.
Or your confidence is based on likes or engagements, or you have to post stuff. Like I hated my school picture once a year. I couldn't imagine if I'm down with social media now, obviously, but because I don't give a shit. But it's back in the day, I'm like, oh my God, it took me like a month to pick out my shirt that I was going to wear.
Totally. And like, would the mall bangs go this way? Or would they go this way? Did you have braces then? Like,
I'm semi-disappointed you didn't show up with mall bangs today. I'm not going to lie.
Next time.
Yeah, we'll circle that. We'll do a full art piece on that that we'll have to pay someone to take, but that's okay.
I mean, mall bangs were art in themselves.
It took me a half
hour versus
half.
half. Yeah. The hairspray.
Real story. When I couldn't get them right, I'd be like, I'm sick. I can't go to school. Cause like my bangs weren't right. So I would literally fake sick. My mom's like, get in the fucking car. Like,
she's like, I see that your bangs aren't right. I know what you're doing. Just crimp them and let's go.
Yeah, seriously. We'll do them in the car. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, so now, I mean, are you, speaking of like kind of like mental wellness with our kiddos, I really do think like creativity, art, sports, that kind of stuff are critical. Is that something you intentionally put into your kiddos' life now, it being such an outlet for you?
Yeah, it's just, I think both my husband and I, we love sports. So I'm so thankful that 2 out of 3 so far love sports too. So that works well.
Good.
And I think, when COVID was happening, my son still was able to do hockey, and it was such a saving moment period for him to be able to still do hockey, because he was still with his friends. Like we did do learning pods. So there's like maybe 4 boys together, but then he could still go to practice and games, and parents weren't allowed in, but we'd watch it all on like Facebook or something. They'd live stream it.
Cool.
But his personality and his attitude, we all got along so much better. He was just happier when he was still able to engage and play. And he's a quiet kid. He's not like a crazy aggressive boy, which I'd be great if he was that way too. Like, I just love boys. I'm like, whatever, I'll take it.
Acceptable.
Yeah. He's like calm and mild mannered. So you would think, oh, he's fine. But no, he needed to get out there and play hard and play rough and that social. And then my daughter, Maxine, she was still into soccer and stuff, but a lot of that kind of stuff got shut down. So I was thankful for Ryder being older too, to really still get to experience that. But with art and all that creativity and outlets, I do find it makes my kids, they're such happier kids when they're doing all those things. Especially then I'm not like pretty much every day after school, they've got an hour and then we're off to practice of some sorts. Like Maxine has 3 nights of soccer and then not including games. And then Ryder will start up with hockey and lacrosse. And so every night we'll have practice. But then I'm like, if we're not doing that, then we'd be home and I'd be like, get off your iPad, stop watching TV, like stop doing screen time. So instead we're out there and it's kind of a grind to drive and everything, but they're happy and they're getting to the point where they're good at sports and it's fun to watch them and vicariously live through them again. And I'm like, hit them harder.
You're that. We're totally going to be those humans. My dad would be on the sideline with like out of shirt, getting a tan. I think that's illegal now. But doing just like a bunch of weird parents from the 90s things, you can bring that back. I have faith that is something you can accomplish. I love that. And I think even those, number one, kids out and doing sports, that's kind of our version of getting into nature, like getting around the grass, or even if it's like high-end AstroTurf, which is really nice. It's at least getting outside, getting off your ass and like getting away from
weather.
Yes, the weather, some
rain,
sunshine,
snow, everything. Yeah.
And I think even driving is a pain in the butt, but you have some concentrated time with your kiddos. You can get them off their phone and just be there and check in. I think those are really valuable moments.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. I feel like a lot of times I'm like, stop fighting, but
well, we were killing each other, my brothers and I.
it's just, I'm like, I'm going to pull this car over. I'm like such a mom now. Great. But you know, like we've created playlists. And so Ryder has his playlist that it's like his pump up one. And
Yes.
so we'll put that on and he'll like roll down all the windows and he'll just sit there and kind of like jam out, you know, and like, and then Maxine has hers, which is like super girly and like happy. And so it's fun. And like, we try to bring music into it too, because that's just such another way to inspire and feel things. So yeah, just, I don't know, trying to take those moments. So thank you for that reminder that the car time's important, because
I mean,
it's a lot.
I even appreciate car time with my dogs. I obviously don't have kids, but because I mean, even they're like doing their own thing. I know this sounds crazy and I wouldn't compare it to humans, but it's stuff is moving all the time in meetings and you're running. And like anytime you have concentrated time where you're just still, I mean, you're driving, but you're pretty still and you're with things you care about. It's like a moment to be like, probably for 5 seconds till someone kills them or they kills each other or hates the song or whatever. But even music's a great like grounding point of like, we can connect on this. Like we have common ground here. Like let's breathe on the fighting for 4 seconds.
The music has been really great. I think we do a lot of kids bop because it's like current music where it's like the kids sing it and there isn't the bad word or there aren't the bad words in it, which is great. Cause I think it's just so hard to find. Yeah. Cause I like a lot of rap and like hip hop and that kind of stuff.
This is the core I know. Like, come through.
Yeah. Yes. Like I want to like jam out, you know, and I do, but then, and like, sometimes like a word will slip in and they'll be like, mommy, they just said that word. I'm like, yeah, I know. Just ignore it. You know? So, like,
do they have like Wu-Tang for kids bop? Like how deep does this kids bop go?
Well, I mean, like Old Town Road. I don't know if there isn't any DMX, but it's like
that's a bummer.
There's Bieber stuff. Like it's all like current, but not like hard.
No maybe Future, no Drake.
No, well, maybe some Drake. I don't know. I'll send you some stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to listen to that with my windows up just so it doesn't ruin my super badass reputation.
Yeah, girl, watch out.
Dude, I'm so glad we didn't have social media because if your kids were seeing, again, we weren't that bad, but like some videos and stuff from Vail.
College. College.
Yeah, all of it.
No.
Ooh.
No.
I
felt like lacrosse chicks. Like we played really hard on the field and off the field. Like
100%.
Yeah. So I like videoing and stuff. Like, no, that is not okay.
Yeah, evidence.
I didn't even have a phone until college, and it was like one of those Nokia ones where you could change the faceplate. You know,
no screen, no photos.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, no evidence. Oh man, how the trajectory might be different. Yeah, but
that makes me nervous.
We're going to keep the pictures just a painting and then everything else digital. Like we're keeping them offline. Perfect. And everything else.
I love it. Please.
It's kind of crazy how fast that stuff does change. But again, kind of going back to the art, I think it's great where you can kind of bring in those roots and provide that outlet, have your kiddos into it. I want to talk a little bit about, I think there are a lot of creatives out there, particularly in painting and art that, maybe they've got a full-time career, maybe they've got kiddos or married, whatever. What was your first step into being like, okay, I'm going to leap and I'm going to do this full time? Because I think that initial step is probably the hardest.
Yeah, so true. I think it's just the confidence and knowing you've found your voice and what makes you unique as an artist. I think that's quite a process too. It wasn't like one day I just painted something and it was like a success, it's that, again, long journey, building up and learning. And then I just found with mine, like each piece is sculpted. Like I'll show you, let me retrieve. Each piece is sculpted first. And so you can see how off the canvas it is. And it's kind of, you can touch it. So there's tactile, but also visual. Just because I always, you grow up like, don't touch the art. And so I want to be like, you can touch the art. It's okay. Yes. So that kind of was like my signature thing, kind of my unique thing that made me different from other art. And then loving to do like headdresses. Like there's a big one behind me that needs to be delivered soon. That was a different angle. And then just kind of my approach to art kind of evolved to where people wanted it too. And so I think once I kind of built up that, knowing that it could be successful, and that I was still working full time, but doing this on the side. And then finally I got to a point where I'm like, I think I can do this full time and I'll be happier too. Yeah. And I think it was once we stopped having children. And I knew because I feel like you're being pregnant and then afterwards, about a year afterwards, it's just hard. Like you're nursing, you're raising kids, it's crazy. And you're mentally a little messed up too from all those pregnancy hormones and just trying to figure out what's the schedule routine of life now that you have an extra human in there. And so we were good at 3. And so then once we had Roxanne and we were past that 1 year, I was like, I think I'm ready to really commit to this and push this forward. So I can still be a good mom and raise my kids, but I want this to be my journey too. And so I think that was like the point that I knew, like, okay, I'm confident with this area of my life and that I can invest more time into this, because I feel like a lot of times we spread ourselves too thin because there is so much opportunity out there. And I was definitely doing that with like flowers and dental and this.
Yeah.
And then finally I realized, like, out of all of these things, this is what makes me the happiest. I look forward to, even on the weekends, being in the studio, painting and creating and, and getting out there. So I'm trying to think back what your question was, but
I mean, it was really just about taking that first step, but it sounds like you kind of did it slow, built the community, built your systems, and then took the leap. But I really think that the piece of advice that is hard for myself as well, even though as kind of like my business and consulting has transitioned, is knowing that you are prepared to do it. You do have the community, you have the skill set, even though your skill set didn't look like a million years of art. You had one-on-one conversations where you learned how to listen and working with small tools. And I mean, the tactile stuff, like you were really prepared working with the team. And so I think people think they're less prepared when really, like, life journey, I always say God, universe, Madonna, whatever you believe, has been preparing you for that point. You just have to see it.
No, it's so true. You have to see it. And I think it takes a minute for you to sit down and think, like, what is my voice? What am I trying to say? And I think as long as you know what your clear path is, then you can move forward with that. And it doesn't have to be exact. Like, mine's still going to evolve. All of us evolve through time, hopefully, and hopefully improve through our different journeys. But I think the biggest key is just knowing what you want to say, what you want to represent. And I think I struggled with that for a while, because I was like, well, should I try to push this or should I try to be this? And I'm like, what am I though? Like, I'm happy. I want to create with color. I want to make people happy and I want you to experience it. And I'm like, well, that can be what I'm pushing forward. It doesn't have to be a political statement for me, because I'm more private on that kind of stuff, which is fine for whatever route people want to take. I encourage what's you, do that, So I feel like that was the biggest turning point when I was like, okay, I'm ready. I know what I want to say.
I love that. That's
nothing at all.
Very well said. Well, I mean, yes and no. I think you say a lot. You just, the way your point of communication, art, music, rapping, whatever it is it is using your voice, but it's doing it in your way. And I love what you said, where you have to kind of take time to do your own personal work. I know with my own journey of self-evolution, it was like very like, okay, I'm doing this, like money's coming in, but like, do I really give a shit? Like, is this putting, things, does this matter? And the podcast started like literally using my voice, not really having a plan on what I was going to say, but I knew that I couldn't stand, young people being sold a dream through marketing and branding. And that's what I did. So I'm like, we got to start highlighting people questioning about doing this, because there are examples of people doing this. You don't have to be spoon fed a reality. So
it's true.
You have to check in with yourself and unpack that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think just the encouragement and knowing that, I think rejection is a huge thing too. And I've felt it a lot through life. Like we all have. I feel like there's probably more rejections than there are acceptances. And that's okay. It just makes you harder, appreciate it more, want that grind and push, and know, like, if this is where you need to be, it's going to happen. And I think just trusting in God or in yourself or in whatever's out there, whatever you want it to be, I think is important too, because there'll be times like someone will be like, I just don't really get your art, or I don't like it. I'm like, okay. I mean, they don't come out and say that, but they're like, no, I'm good on this piece. I don't want this. I'm like, fine. That's great. But I know that something else is going to come along. Yeah. And that's what I think you got to remember always, is that there's so much opportunity out there. Something is going to come along. But I mean, obviously you have to work for it and aggressively pursue it. But it'll happen. So I feel like that's like, just knowing, like, sometimes I get stressed. I'm like, oh, I'm not working on a piece right now, or I don't know when my next piece is coming, my next client, when I'm going to get another request. So then I'll start painting something else. And then like 3 or 4 will come the next day, or I'll try for something and not get it, but then something else positive happens. So I think just being able to go with that roller coaster of ups and downs, and just still being confident and knowing what you're doing matters and it's where you need to be. I think it's just the self-confidence, I think, is hard, especially when you're on your own, like you are with Turmeric and Tequila, and just like, or a lot of artists, it's not a team of people. And so if someone doesn't like it, your work that they don't like. It's not like this whole group of people. So
Yeah.
I think that's hard, but knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah. Well, I really encourage, I work with like kind of a group of podcasters, and it's been so reaffirming
Oh,
because,
cool.
well, we don't really know what we're doing, and the space is evolving so much. And I'm in it. I'm confident what I do, and I'm confident how I show up, and years down the road, I might be like, I can't believe I said that. Like that's completely taboo or politically incorrect, or who knows how we're going to evolve. But it's worth it to me to have that risk and be wrong than say nothing and just pretend that I'm right. Like that's not what life's about. And just like failing as a kiddo, in college or whatever, being one-upped by the seniors, or you got to kind of go out there so you learn and then you get on to the next thing.
So true. I think with that, and like, it's just so important to not overly shelter your kids, which it's hard because, like I want to shelter mine and be like, get that kid away, or you be nice, or, like my kid needs to be nicer, all this stuff, but guide them. Yes. But still like we all have to experience life. Even now, still like our parents can't like shelter us and keep us from experiencing it. So
they had no idea.
No idea. I feel like mine weren't involved in my life as much as I'm involved in my kids.
Well, the downside of social media is like the parents can get on there too. And like, we can see what's going where. Even when I was coaching, I was like, was there a party this weekend? Cause like you look hungover, and now we're running 1,400,000. So I'm going to need you to figure this out.
And you're puking on the side. So
yeah. And I don't do throw up. So you got to go. But all right. So if you're out there and you're listening, and you're really looking to like lean into creativity, so I've got the podcast and I want to lean into fashion. And I like what you were saying, all like your journey kind of led you to this point, even though like it wasn't an art background. As I was unpacking some, like, I really want to do like fashion. I'm like, wait, what the F do I know? Like, I've never done fashion. I wear neon tights. Like, who does anyone else care about this? But I think if I look at my journey and unpack it, you can probably see a multitude of things that happened that really did prepare me for this. So if you're out there and you're thinking like,
totally,
I'm not prepared, I don't know. I think if you look at your past, you probably are more prepared than you think.
I think that's such a great way to put it. It's so true. I feel like your life lessons and things you've experienced can help you create it in the end. And it doesn't have to be jump in with both feet, test the water, see how it feels, and let it evolve slowly. But then some people jump right in and get it done too. I think we're all different. I tend to hold on to things, whether it's relationships or clothes that I should have thrown out, my Rockin' Republic jeans.
Yes.
Just so I think for me, I needed to like hold on to my whole dental side that was such who I was with my dad, who is no longer with us. So that was hard to shut that door to start something new. So I think we all have a different approach for life too. And I think you just got to know yourself on, do you just jump in or slowly do it, or medium? Like, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, other than you just got to do it though.
Yeah.
You can't be on the sidelines just waiting for something to happen, because it's not going to. Someone else is going to do it instead.
Exactly. Well, and like your art, my podcast, like everyone's a podcaster. You don't need to be, have everybody as a client or a fan or whatever. There's billions of humans. You only need a few. And even then, if it's just you and your mom or your husband or whatever, that's your immediate fans, that's enough. If you can have this outlet that's your authentic self, you really don't need all these, billions of humans. And in fact, I think that could be a suffocating reality. As much as I want to be Madonna or Beyonce, I have empathy for their realities. You can't go to McDonald's looking like a hot mess. Like, well, I don't want to give that up. Like,
no, it's hard not going to McDonald's the next day after a big event or something.
We should have did our podcast there, actually, just keeping it all on brand.
I mean, I did take my kids there last week and we all had Happy Meals, and I had a quarter pounder, double cheese. So
I'm so proud of you. Keeping it real. I love it.
Your body needs that shock of unhealthy food. So
I completely agree. Yeah. You can only keep it 100, so much.
Or ever. I mean,
or exactly. Yeah. Well, if you are looking to get out there, again, look at the past of what you've come through, what you've done, lean into the journey. I really like how there's kind of continuing through this conversation of, self-evolution and checking back in with yourself, your happiness level, what it is. And I can't express enough how important that creative angle is, whether it's music or art, to not only facilitate your own heart, but then bring in new communities. And sometimes letting go of stuff, like I have to clean up my house continuously because there's shit everywhere. But like you said, like your nod to your dad, I want you kind of explain like how you sign your pieces. I think that's really cool. I think sometimes when you have to let go of things that are really hard, you can find different ways to carry them through and let, their voice, their life, their memory come through and impact the future.
It's so true. I think just to continue to honor them, and just a nod to your past, because whether you're successful or not, or like where you are today is because of your past, you know, and your family and your parents. And I feel like it's always important to thank them or bring it full circle. Just because that's what I would want my kids to do too later on in life. My dad, he passed away about 6 years ago. And I have one sister. So with Sexton is my maiden name. And so now there's only girls on our side. And so the Sexton name is gone. So I changed my middle name to Sexton, and then every piece or painting I sign C Sexton W. And it's just to kind of honor my dad in every piece and just kind of just a little nod to him and remember just where I came from. And I don't know, it just makes me think of him a little bit. And I think it's important just so he's not forgotten. Yeah. He made such a huge impact on my life and so many others. So I don't know. It's like the one way to, even though I'm not doing dental anymore.
But the skills carried through. He prepared you accordingly. It just came out in a different way. I think I think that though, on the heart side, it's so amazing because it displays this really human vulnerability. And even on the business side, as like our consumers evolve and humans want something more authentic. Like I bought this painting from this woman that had a similar story to me, and she signs her paintings like this. And it's really a humanizing, I hate to say humanizing the brand, 'cause it's really not about the business, but it's humanizing our reality where we can really have this common denominator. And then now you have this beautiful art piece that not only you love the way it looks at, like you can walk by and like think of something positively every time you see it.
So true. It's so true. It's because, I mean, you want to connect because there is so much art out there, so many amazing artists and really beautiful things that people are creating. And so it's like, what's going to make you different? And so that's why I do try to connect with people, because sometimes people buy a painting by just the name, you know, maybe the name or the title of it speaks to them. Or just the story of my dad and Alzheimer's and that trip, that story. I think it's just like, how are you going to connect with someone and make something meaningful to them, even though it's meaningful to you too, or like, you know, and like in the collaborations, like with businesses and stuff, like, I think that's so fun and important. And like talking to you on this is really cool. So I just keep evolving and moving forward. And I just think there's always something new. And with art too, it's not just painting or music, like it's writing. There's so many ways to be creative. And I feel like so many people are like, I'm just not creative. I'm like, yeah, but you can write this amazing letter, or you put this together well, or your visuals are so good on this. So I just feel like your vessel doesn't have to be a paintbrush or like the piano or something. It's just endless out there what you can do. Create something new.
Very well said. I've walked into some of my friends' pantries and the way it's organized, I'm like, this is art. I'm like,
oh, right?
F did you even this, like the cornflakes have a
so
Tupperware and it's labeled, and I'm like,
it's like Zen in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is, I'm just going to sleep in here. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. Ours are like half ripped boxes, like shoved in there.
There's like a mouse.
Like, oh yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Hashtag protein.
There's powdered sugar all over, you know, it's sticky from honey. Like I wish I was better at organizing. I mean,
we can't be at all. You can't be strong, good at lacrosse, whatever, like good at drinking beer. What else do you want from me? You know, like what else?
It's rosé now. I'm really good at drinking rosé.
Tequila. We can't do fermented anything. We're dialing in the nutrition and playing the line as much as we can.
Yeah, no cal. Totally.
I love it. Well, but I think another major through line of this is life is like we started out like we're hot messes, like all of our lacrosse crews in the best way. But what a beautiful situation. Like what a beautiful, this sounds so cliche, but what a beautiful journey of everything we didn't control kind of coming together. And it will continue to be like ups and downs, obviously, and some major breakdowns and breakthroughs, but like what a beautiful tornado of like shit we couldn't even have planned. And here we go.
I think I agree. And I just feel like it connected you with people that you wouldn't normally probably be friends with or not know what connected you. And we all had lacrosse, like going to DU, there's 5 of us that were like best friends and played together, and we still talk and meet for birthday dinners, and I don't talk to anybody really from high school anymore. It's all my college girls that I played lacrosse with, or with you, or like people that you went through those hardcore moments of like blood, sweat, and tears on the field and traveling and like 6 a.m. 2-a-days and all that stuff. Like I feel like those moments when you're at your lowest, I feel like, or like trying so hard and it's just hard, like you really connect with those people and they kind of last for a long time, which is nice.
It's so the best gift ever. No, I'm so with you. It's
Yeah.
I've stayed in touch a little bit with high school crew, but mostly my lax humans or my CrossFit, like my fitness humans have always been my through line. And that's what I hope with all these creative conversations that people find their communities, you find other artists, because I think you get your certain pockets, but that community is so critical. Do you ever look back at your young self and you're like, I can't believe I did that? Like, I feel like sometimes my 18-year-old self is well beyond where I am at 40.
Yeah, no, totally. I try never to regret, because then I would like regret so many things, and I'd like,
no, we're all here really for a reason. Yeah.
Depressed. But yeah, I do look back and I'm like, how did I not die? Or how did
but even being responsible and showing up for 6 a.m. practices, like having our shit together when we were like college kids, but it was like a full-time job.
Oh yeah. No, the hard stuff for practice and that we would do, like the 2-3 hour practices and like out in like the sleeting snow and like,
dude, mental warfare.
All you had was Under Armour on and like your fast suit, and it was
you forgot it, so you don't have it, and
totally, and you're soaked to the bone, and you look like a little drowned rat. Like, no, all of that stuff. Like, I couldn't go through that now. Like, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing this. But
it's
like.
I drove 2,000 miles with my Jeep that didn't have AC, which I still have, by the way.
I do have that Jeep.
Yeah, I mean, it's parked for the most part, but it's like my heart, and it has so many memories. But no AC, pulling a 5x10 cargo trailer. I don't know, driving it by 70. Shit, I'm like, I would never do that now. Like,
no,
what?
No.
So it's I don't know.
I think it was good.
It was good. Absolutely.
Builds that grit that we all need more of.
Yeah. My kid's not ever going to bail. Yeah.
Ryder played in it, but he's 10.
Yeah, but you were there. Yeah.
Different. I was there. And I just remember like he was with like 10 other boys and they were like, we're going to go walk around Lion's Head for a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. And it was okay. Like, I mean, they're not into drinking or anything. They're 10. Yeah. But part of me was like, oh my gosh, you're going to get stolen. Like something stupid went through my head like that. But I'm like, no, wait, they're fine. They're 10-year-old boys. It's fine. Like, we always did it. So it's okay. So it was cool. It was good for him to be able to have that independence and experience Vail on a calmer level and not like high school, college yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to say some prayers for you. I have full faith it will all be okay. But I'm here for you if you need some backup.
Thanks. I'll be like, wait, what does this mean, Kale? Or
I'll be like, oh, it's on TikTok. Look at my video. Here we are. We're just Botoxing my soul through social media.
Yes. Perfect. Oh my gosh. It's a little scary, but
I love it. Oh, I have to come see you again. I gotta obviously come to the studio.
Yes, please.
We have to. And we'll have to do some sort of like, maybe we'll do a podcast there or something. The acoustics, if you look at this on YouTube, her ceiling, I'm sure the acoustics might be kind of brutal for a podcast, but it's drop dead gorgeous. They took out the ceiling. Her studio situation is beautiful.
I've got a good sitting area over here too.
Perfect.
Sit right there.
Yes, we can skull natty lights.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'll bring fine tequila and rosé. Yes. We'll upgrade our life. All right. Well, I mean, there's so many things I don't want to share all the lax stories, but there's so many things we can go on to. But where do we find you? Give me Instagram and give me website. Give me the deets.
Awesome. Thank you. I would say really Instagram. I try to post a few times a week. I'm trying to be more like better with that. Just because it's such a good avenue for marketing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That was what I found has definitely escalated my work even more because I'm always painting, but people don't know that, so then they see it and it's just like, keep putting it out there. I'm like, oh, I want that,
Yeah.
So Instagram, and it's just C Sexton W Studio. And then I have a website too. And I always have everything posted on that as well. And that one's csextonwstudio.com. And then my information's on there too, if you ever need to email me or get in contact. But I mean, Instagram's pretty good too.
I love it. So cost and time effective. Everyone's on there. But check out, because she's been because you guys are doing live shows again, right? Is that even what it's called? The correct term? For like when you go do like people come see art displayed.
Yeah, like galleries and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm like,
you go to the bar. Give me a clue here.
I'm like, I don't sing, so. Yeah, no. I have like clients out to my studio and stuff to talk through things, or I do a lot of Zoom calls, which has been great. Like that, I feel like COVID has really elevated that side of it. So, and then I'll do different events and stuff. Like I've been to the free market and different things where I'll sculpt and do some live painting. So yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely different things. I'll post it on Instagram if I'm doing anything like that. But I mean, always up for a conversation. And I never try to push my art on anybody either. And I appreciate anytime someone contacts and like wants to know about it and talk about it. But I don't make them, I'm like, you don't have to buy anything. So,
Yeah.
because it's such a commitment. So I hope people always feel comfortable with me with just, if they just want to talk about art and hear the process or anything, I think it's fun.
Yes. The human connect
Yeah.
through. I will push your art and I
Connect.
will say, you need to go see it. And even
Thanks,
just
girl.
check out the Instagram because the way you do the videos, it's like very soothing. You get to see some of
Okay,
like
good.
the creative process. No, it's really cool.
Mhm.
I mean, some people like seeing like ice cream being poured or like something being smashed. It's very like, it's a
Totally.
cool process to see it. I'm not really familiar with art, but I love it. So I loved seeing some of the behind the scenes type stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
learned that people want to see how it's made
yeah.
versus just
Yeah.
the finished product. And so a lot of them I pour an acrylic resin or an epoxy resin over it. And so that gives it that high gloss, like mirrored effect like this one has. And it makes it kind of more modern and it makes the colors pop. And I use acrylic paint, but it makes it look almost like oil paint because it's so intense in color. So there's a lot of different mediums. And then like this is my favorite tool. It's a burger flipper. I use it to sculpt.
Yes.
This is my favorite. And then I just have lots of tools and I've got some dental tools.
No
Just
way.
looks at
Use the dental
everything.
tool. I love this is
Uh-huh.
so serendipitous. That's so cool.
Yeah. No, I use scalers to get in there and make it smaller and any tools I can use. So yeah.
Yes, check it out. And she does like a lot of nature and nature inspired. But then there's like some neon in there. So it's a really
Ooh, yeah.
diverse,
Love some good
like
colors.
yeah, you check a lot of boxes. So I think the audience
Good.
is very, very broad.
Awesome. I tried to. I want to bring in more. I'm excited for the next challenge or what's the next step? Who do I get to work with next to create something new? I don't know. I'm just hungry and excited
Yes.
and just, I don't know, just excited.
I love hearing that. That's like kiddo when you first lacrosse practice or you start something new and you got to learn. I don't know if you still do art classes, but like getting back to that mode of learning and creating, that is soul Botox. Like that is so good for you.
It's so true.
Everything.
I mean, every piece I learned something new because I work a lot with water and making it kind of organic. And a lot of times the paints do something that's unexpected. And I think that's really fun too, to be like, oh, what's this going to do now? Or this color on top of that color wash. And I don't know, I'm always trying to figure out new approaches to it too, still in the realm of what I like to create.
So. I love it. Do you ever not want to let your paintings go?
Definitely when I first started out, like I still have a lot of my first couple pieces.
Okay.
But yeah, I do, but I'm also so excited to get it out so I can start the next piece.
Yeah.
And since I've done it for so long now, I feel good. Like my mom is the one that's more like, I need that piece, Cora. And I'm like, Mom, it's sold. It's for someone else. She's like, I need that, Cora. I'm your mother. And I'm like, I know, Mom, but it's not mine to give,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hold on to ones, like, or I'll make some for my daughter, like, and my kids. Like, here's one. This one's actually up in Roxanne's room.
Oh my God, I love it.
And I was using it because a client wanted it in a smaller form.
Okay.
So I make pieces for my kids and family members, and so I still get to experience it too. But we don't have that much more wall space. So
I was going to say, you
gotta
can
go.
You can stay attached. The old jeans stay, the painting has to go. It is what it is. The jeans are here first.
A lot of stacks of jeans up in that closet.
I love it. And a portion of your proceeds of the headdresses kick back to a nonprofit?
Yes, they go to a nonprofit here in Denver, and it supports Native American children and families. And so each headdress piece sold, part of that goes to them. And it's just, I'm so excited to see where that goes as well, because I think it's really important to the Native American culture, and it's in my upbringing as well. But just to give back and show it, just honor it too, I think is really important. So I hope to continue like moving that path and bringing that full circle too, just to show my appreciation.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's just lacrosse, creativity, all these things, bringing people together and kind of lighting a light in all of our own hearts. I think my dog is sensing the energy. She's never like this, and she's literally outside the door. I don't know what she's doing beer pongs or something, but
totally.
But check Cora's art out. It's amazing. It's super like different and diverse, but absolutely beautiful. Colorado native. I'm always here for my local humans doing a thing, especially when I've known them for 20 years or so. But I'm excited, and I love to see us grown up. I'm using air quotes, but our grown up selves.
I feel like talking to you that we're like 20 again.
Absolutely. We are. Let it be known.
I know. I'm like, it just feels so good.
I want to be like, dude, do you have your cleats? Like, we're late and the refs are yelling at us. I haven't unloaded the trailer yet, but let's go warm up.
Totally. But I don't know, the whole Colorado. I do one thing too. Not just headdresses, but I do a lot of mountain pieces. Can I show you one mountain piece?
Yeah, anything you want to show. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Please.
I'm so bad at this part of things, the marketing. So this piece well, there's my dog.
Oh my God, Dookie. How cute. Hi, baby.
Yeah. Say hey. Hey, Dookie.
I wish my dog was like in that mode right now. That would be appreciated for my audio.
Right. Okay, let me see. Can you see that? So this is a huge mountain piece.
Yes.
That's drying. And then it's going to have like some elk on it. And different things.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Sure I love the three-dimensional. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And so different.
I'll show you this one. And then I'll let you go. I know time's probably running out. So like this is a bandana and my mom wears wild rags.
Okay.
They're called, and it's what cowboys wear around their faces when they're like out in the fields or to keep dust from going in their face and mouth and stuff. But this is another way that they wear them, is just with like a little metal tie. But you can see like how off the canvas this is.
Yeah.
And so it's all sculpted on there and then painted. But so this is like, I do a lot of like wild rags and stuff too, bandanas and different things.
You have, I'm not going to label it correctly, but you have like different, is it genres of art or?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
A lot with like, not just all Western, because like this one over here is just super modern and that's going to a house. And it has a lot of texture and that's a matte finish. But definitely, and then this one's going to have some words go on it. They're sculpted words and stuff. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah. And just different clients wanting different things, but still within the realm of what I do, and a lot of flowers too, but, still a lot of good nods to Western, but not just cowboy or Native American but a lot of Colorado, I would say.
Yeah. I love it. Well, you gotta go on there and check out what she's doing. Cause again, it's like diversity in colors, diversity in inspiration in the art forms, flowers to Western. The maps were really cool with like neon highlights.
Oh, yeah, the maps. That was fun.
There's
the Denver maps.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff. And you kind of know, but I really love I don't want to say secret stuff, but like the little intentional details that you may not know. I just always feel like that, like art, even t-shirts and fashion, like those things that people don't know make it so much more personal.
I mean, that's so true. And then that's like you were just saying too, it's like your connection to that person. And that's like why just to them, like why it's special to them, and someone might not know that's what that was, or like there's flowers on certain parts, or anything to connect, girl.
I'm so proud of you. We are out here as grown ass
I'm proud
adults.
of you. I mean, this is cool. You're so good at talking.
Well, who knew? Thank God this became a thing.
But you're easy to talk to. And this was so fun to like, I don't know, get to share. And I was so nervous at the beginning, and I'm like, I forget that you're recording this, and that it's just not just us hanging out.
Yeah, I know. Which we do need to do rosé and tequila IRL in real life, and catch up, because I think that squad points. This is always such a good reminder of like, we got to make time. You got to get the LAC squad back together.
It is true, because I feel like, I tend to hang out with parents that my kids hang out with. Like my kids kind of dictate that, and so
sure.
When you do take that moment and take that time to reconnect with people and go do that, it's just so rewarding, and it just feels good. So yeah, I need to make that effort. So
I'm with you. Tell the girls, all the DU homies, that I said hello.
I will definitely. Of course they remember you. How could they not?
Again, yeah. Tell myself the G, we're out here. But yes, but I appreciate you. Check out Cora, what she's got going on. I hope you, my listening audience, can go see some of her stuff in person, because again, they're beautiful online, but seeing some of the three-dimensional and the texture, and just her energy around her art, I think is it's an awesome thing. If you're leaning into be a creative, tap into her, reach out. I don't know if you're open to like helping coach or mentor or anything, but her journey is an amazing one. So if you're thinking about it and making that leap, lean into what she has going on in her whole situation.
Yeah, I'm happy to help motivate or just encourage. I feel like just encouragement is what we all need. And just to know that you can do it, and that there's just so much opportunity. Yeah, so just get out there and do it.
Yes.
That's the hardest thing. Rip the Band-Aid off and just do it.
Again, our 18-year-old selves, just show up, you practice, it's time.
You got to be there 15 minutes early or you're late. So
that ended at college, just as my rebellious self. Like, we're done with that. Yeah.
Same.
We're done.
I wish I would have kept that up. I need that.
I love it. All right, we'll check her out.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes.
I really appreciate this. This was so fun. And I just appreciate getting to talk about this and connecting with you too.
I miss you. Let's check in maybe in a year and see how some of the art has progressed.
So I don't get to talk to you for a year.
Yeah, the whole year. Nope. This is my phone. No, I've told you we got to do this in person. I don't know that it's good to record or not, so we can actually tell real stories or the real detailed stories. But no, let's check in on the business side. Personal stuff.
That'd be so fun.
At what are some of those gross bars we used to go to? Candlelight or Dawn's?
Yep. I remember the Candlelight and the Kentucky Inn.
Oh God, there was like a cringe over your face as you were saying it. Like it's all coming back to me now, as Celine Dion says.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
yes.
But that was so fun. And like,
oh, I know.
I remember dressing up in like aerobics attire for one thing, or just
that would have been one of my CR Slacks bashes. I think we did.
Okay. And all your shirts that you made, I still have the one of the silver fox from Vail. What was it?
Yes, Phil Long.
I still have that purple one with his picture on it upstairs in my closet.
Katie G was just up there. He's still playing. He's still So next time you're up there,
house, right?
No, dude, we were at the Red Lion.
Oh,
we didn't have Chop House.
But he's at the Chop House now. I think.
Oh, is he?
It.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think he owns like 2 restaurants. Joke's on us. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe don't take any of this for.
No, I think Katie G, one of my, I think you played with her, longtime lacrosse human. Played at Mason from Arapahoe High School.
Oh yeah.
She was a few years younger than us, like 10. But she was up there because she works for Cora's now. I'm telling all her business on the podcast. And she saw him, but I think he owns like 2 restaurants or something. Yeah. He's living the dream. I want to own Vail properties and just cover Whitney Houston. I literally will have no one there, but we'll just put it in my mind.
I can't wait to see your outfits. I think that's amazing.
That is, well, you can see my version of art right here. It's actually
a
Chanel bottle, and pop art, is kind of like the rebel of the art world.
Yeah.
So really new, but we might have to like co-conspire at some point and get something custom going.
I think it's fun. I love that hot color business happening. Hot colors are so good.
Hot color, hot girl summer, neon for life. You know me.
I like that. That's a good. I need a T-shirt that says that. Okay.
I got you. I literally got you. All right. We'll wrap soon. Cora, please go check her out. We could talk so much more. But we'll check in a year and see what's going on.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks so much, Kato.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.